The Jersey Devil. Most accounts of the Jersey Devil legend attribute the creature to Mother Leeds, a supposed witch, although the tale has many variations. According to one version, she invoked the devil while giving birth to her 13th child, and when the baby was born, it either immediately or soon afterwards transformed into a devil-like creature and flew off into the surrounding pines. According to legend, while visiting the Hanover Mill Works to inspect his cannonballs being forged, Commodore Stephen Decatur sighted a flying creature flapping its wings and fired a cannonball directly upon it, to no effect. Joseph Bonaparte, eldest brother of Emperor Napoleon, is also said to have witnessed the Jersey Devil while hunting on his Bordentown, New Jersey estate around 1820. Throughout the 1800s, the Jersey Devil was blamed for livestock killings, strange tracks, and reported sounds. In the early 1900s, a number of people in New Jersey and neighboring states claimed to witness the Jersey Devil or see its tracks. Claims of a corpse matching the Jersey Devil's description arose in 1957. In 1960, the merchants around Camden offered a $10,000 reward for the capture of the Jersey Devil, even offering to build a private zoo to house the creature if captured. According to one version of the tale, the Jersey Devil was the 13th child born to a Mrs. Leeds, a resident of the Pine Barrens during the mid-17th century. Mrs. Leeds was so upset at yet another pregnancy that after giving birth she exclaimed, "I am tired of children, let the devil take this one." What was once a human child immediately transformed into a winged monstrosity. He ate all the other children and flew out through the chimney. There are many versions of this legend, differing in date of the birth and the degree of the devil's disfigurement. In some stories, the devil is merely a human child, which Mrs. Leeds confined to her cellar or attic, only to have it escape into the woods. Another legend attributes the devil's birth to a gypsy curse placed upon a selfish young woman who refused to give the gypsy food and shelter. There are other tales that suggest Leeds herself was a witch, or that she was cursed by locals for having an affair with a British soldier. The Showards house, a log cabin within the Pine Barrens, was reputed to be the birthplace of the devil. Only ruins of the foundation of the house and a few other parts still exist today. In 1840, the devil was blamed for livestock killings. 1841 saw a similar attack, accompanied by strange tracks and screams. The devil made an 1859 appearance in Haddonfield. Bridgeton witnessed a flurry of sightings during the winter of 1873. Joseph Bonaparte, eldest brother of Emperor Napoleon, is said to have seen the devil while hunting on his Bordentown, New Jersey estate. Commodore Stephen Decatur is claimed to have fired upon the devil while testing ammunition on a New Jersey firing range. He and his audience were dumbfounded to watch the devil continue its flight, apparently untouched. January 1909, however, saw the most widespread period of sightings ever recorded. Thousands of people claim to have seen the devil during the week of January 16th to 23rd. Newspapers nationwide followed the story and published eyewitness reports. Hysteria gripped the entire state during this terrible week. There are many possible roots of the Jersey Devil legends. The Pine Barrens, as their name suggests, were avoided by early settlers as a desolate, threatening area. The Barrens provided a natural refuge for those who wished to remain hidden, starting with religious dissenters, loyalists, fugitives, and deserting soldiers in colonial times. These people, cut off from much of the outside world, formed their own solitary groups and were pejoratively referred to as Pines. Some of the Pines included notorious bandits known as Pine Robbers. Pineys were further demonized after two eugenics studies at the turn of the century depicted them as congenital idiots and criminals. It is easy to imagine early tales of terrible monsters arising from a combination of sightings of genuine animals such as bears, the activities of pines, and fear of the imposing barrens themselves. outdoorsman and author Tom Brown, Jr., spent several seasons living entirely within the wilderness of the New Jersey Pine Barrens. He recounts several occasions when terrified hikers mistook him for the Jersey Devil, particularly after he covered his whole body in mud to repel mosquitoes. Of course, the most influential and probably most important roots of the tales of the Jersey Devil are the testimonials of people who have come into contact with the creature from before the European settlers arrived to the present day. The Wendigo is a cold climate creature that's been spotted in Canada and in northern states like Minnesota. Some locals who've encountered the beast consider it a relative of Bigfoot, but reports describe the beast as more of a werewolf than a Sasquatch. Ethno-historian Nathan Carlson says the Wendigo is often described as a creature with owl-like eyes, large claws, and an emaciated body. Others describe it looking like a skeleton with ash-toned skin. This strange being is said to live alone in the forest and feeds on human flesh. The Algonquian tribes called the Wendigo the spirit of lonely places, and they blamed many unsolved disappearances at the turn of the 20th century on Wendigo attacks. All cultures in which the Wendigo myth appeared shared the belief that human beings could turn into Wendigos if they ever resorted to cannibalism, or alternatively, become possessed by the demonic spirit of a Wendigo, often in a dream. Once transformed, a person would become violent and obsessed with eating human flesh. The most frequent cause of transformation into a Wendigo was if a person had resorted to cannibalism, consuming the body of another human in order to keep from starving to death during a time of extreme hardship or famine. Among northern Algonquian cultures, cannibalism, even to save one's own life, was viewed as a serious taboo. The proper response to famine was suicide or resignation to death. On one level, the Wendigo myth thus worked as a deterrent and a warning against resorting to cannibalism. Those who did would become Wendigo monsters themselves. One of the most widely reported cases of a Wendigo spirit possessing a human is that of Swift Runner, a Native American who murdered and ate his entire family in the winter of 1879. He claimed to be possessed by a Wendigo at the time of the murders and was hanged for his crime. Although his case is one of the most well-known historically, there were many reports in the early 20th century of Wendigo spirits possessing people in dozens of communities from northern Quebec to the Rockies. The Rake is a creature believed to be a humanoid in appearance, with several references in folklore and horrific urban legends, originally appearing on the internet as a creepypasta. The creature reportedly attacks humans for unknown reasons and often causes its victims great psychological trauma. Several theories as to its development rake point towards internet threads and online discussions. However, others believe alcoholic delusions fueled the idea of the creature before then. The Rake has also been tied to alternate figures, such as the Slender Man, an internet meme and subject of several video games. It is based on ancient folklore, referencing an unnaturally tall and skinny man mysteriously lurking in the woods. It is theorized that the Rake could possibly be a proxy of Slender Man, subject to its own self-mutilation and psychological disorders. The first account of the Rake's existence was a mariner's log written in 1691, identifying the Rake by name. The next account, written in the 1800s, described the Rake as having hollow black eyes and being terrifying in nature. In 1964, a suicide note was written in which the author claims to have committed suicide due to repeated encounters with the Rake and the fear that the creature will torment him horribly. Currently, the most complete and completely fictional tale of the Rake was written in 2006. The story begins with a woman waking her husband up early in the morning. As she sat up to go to the restroom, She saw what seemed to be a naked and incredibly pale man, or even a large hairless dog, at the foot of the bed, and gasped. The husband curled up when he saw the figure. After a few moments of this, in one fast motion, the rake scurried to the husband's side of the bed and stared at him for a moment. Seconds later, the creature ran into the children's room. It fled, covered in blood, as the couple approached the room, leaving the mangled body of their daughter. Her last words were, "He is the rake." The husband rushed the daughter to the hospital, but accidentally drove into a nearby lake and drowned with the daughter inside. Several months after this horrible event, the woman began researching the creature she now identified as the rake. Through her research, she noticed the pattern of repeated visits in the reports she read. Based on this, she began digitally recording her room each night and listening to the tapes during the day to find out if the rake had revisited her. At the start of the third week, she heard the first signs of a visit in the form of a shrill voice that she immediately recognized. She did not know where she had heard it, but regardless, she knew the sound. She noted that, she can't listen to it long enough to even begin to transcribe it. The woman was later found dead on her floor. Another encounter with the rake occurred in 2017. 3 girls sighted it inside a wood right next to their neighborhood in Austin, Texas. One of the girls thought it was a cloaked man hunched over. The same girl's eyes turned pure black after this encounter. Another believed to be a Wendigo, while the last girl thought it was a bush. Later, one of the girls found a video that had rake footage on it. She showed it to one of the other girls. They realized that what they had seen only a short distance from them was, in fact, the rake.